Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today I thought it would be fun for me to review for the serial Saturday that I have, where I like to go back and review the old forgotten serial telling genre that really sold seeds in movie theaters, which I've done some reviews of for you folks, like Adventures of Captain Marvel or The Space Ghost, things like that. Love lots. Crimson Ghost, things like that definitely make some money. Or, things in the TV serial too genre, like Doctor Who and stuff in the 60s. So we're doing the second season. This is the seventh serial, and this is called The Space Museum, and so forth. So let's get started. Alright, so just a reminder of Doctor Who history. I loved Doctor Who as a kid. Growing up, I was born in '76 when Tom Baker was the fourth Doctor. He was the Doctor that was contemporaneous with me. Growing up in Southern West Virginia, I saw his serial, The Robots of Death. Thought it was creepy, thought it was great, loved the special effects. Thought it was really scary. It's like coming back to it over and over and over again. Watched him until he was regenerated and died. Then McGowan was regenerated into the fifth Doctor. And I watched Fifth Doctor from contemporaneously. Loved him too. He became my favorite Doctor. Then I saw the sixth Doctor, his first season. And then he actually in his 18-month hiatus, because of how great the ratings were for Doctor Who here at the PBS station, they would go ahead and just move to the black and whites. So I saw the Unearthly Child, I saw the Daleks, that sort of thing, and the first Doctor became my favorite Doctor, and he still is the same in the classic era. And so much he really gave a lot to the institutions, to the modern stories that we're telling, right? That sort of thing. I can remember back in Doctor Who, and because of how great the ratings were, you could actually tell when they were in the season to donate to the local PBS station on that sort of thing, because of how strong the ratings were, right? So you definitely tell when that was happening. I remember once watching a webcast, and you could actually phone in a vote for Vengeance on Vardos or the Twin Dilemma. Luckily, we escaped the Twin Dilemma. Seeing it again, Vengeance on Vardos is daily investing, based on how much money you voted in, other than the number of people. So stuff like that. All right, great stuff. Love it lots. So that was the parts and the good stuff. Loved it lots. I even, when I was in college too, I was in the honors program as a resident assistant, and I actually did a Who-thon, marathon for an entire weekend, where I would just show Doctor Who on the big screen TV in the giant lounge, and I actually rented, even everything from the Daleks on that level. So that was my Doctor Who history. Again, the sub-serial in the season in 1964 was the Space Museum. It's a sci-fi four-parter. It stars as the first Doctor, William Hartnell, like I mentioned before, my favorite Doctor, and then his companion Vicky is Maureen O'Brien. I definitely think that in the previous one, the Web Planet, this was a sequel to The Crusade. She started to really come into her own, and since the previous one, we don't have X, and I haven't seen them. So I said here you can definitely see her sort of really taking the part and doing some great stuff with it. Not just her acting, but also what they're asking her to do. From the ending to the early stuff, lots. I also started as Ian Chesterton, a science teacher and fighter. In the previous one, he was knighted. It's William Russell, the other William, and as history teacher and context provider, Barbara Wright is Jacqueline Hill. It also stars as the lead bad guy. Low boss is Brett Richard Shaw. His number two is Ivor Salter. Then there are three major locals called Zerons that were conquered by the nasty guys, the Morocks. So this was produced by Verity Lambert for you folks, and directed by Mervyn Penfield, and written by Glenn Jones, his first one for Doctor Who, it's not applied to. So Verity Lambert is the first female and youngest producer of BBC drama at that time. It's lots. Her fun and Prince all over great parts of the series. All right, and then in the first episode, the TARDIS crew. I like to give you some of the stuff that's happening in the first episode in longer scenes or show like this, and then keep your story free for the end. They swap clothes off screen because they started with the Crusade middle-aged clothes, and then they appear in regular outdoor clothes, and then weird things happen to them. like they leave no footprints and nobody can hear them or see them once they arrive in the Space Museum proper. And then they realize that time has gone amok and they need to change their history. I love that the first person who mentions that time is related is Vicky, who's from the future. Love that lots. I think that characterization the Doctor confirms to her. He says, we should have a talk sometime. I love that much. Then she does things here that are great too later on in the ending. I wish that Susan had more sort of character development like Vicky had, because she's from the future, because Susan was Doctor's granddaughter, and that sort of thing. So the actor goes on a holiday for an episode, and they write him out, which is kind of weird when you're watching. All right, so in the first episode, and the cliffhanger is absolutely up at level 1, 10 out of 10. But there's a big letdown from there later on in what they set up and that sort of thing. I love that this deals with time travel in a realistic and very scientifically strong way. Love that a lot for things. And I feel like that sets up later strong stuff like Blank or River Song's character. But it feels a little disappointing in the middle and that sort of thing aren't great. So overall, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. For its great opening, great cliffhanger, but I'd watch it, but it stars at a 10 out of 10 for that episode, but then drops to 7 out of 10. Sorry about that. Alright, so those are my quick thoughts on the Space Museum from 65 from Doctor Who for you folks. Have you read this? And if so, what did you, I've read this, have you seen this? And if so, what did you think about it? Did you agree or disagree? By 7 out of 10. Did you agree that the first episode is an absolute classic with cliffhanger too? One of the best. And then it sort of lets itself down. And that sort of thing. So I totally let me know your thoughts, and if you would give it a lower ranking and agree with that too, like a 6 or a 5, that's fine. Or if you want to give it a higher ranking because you think the first one should leave it, or you think the ending isn't that strong. This is written as a budget episode, hence the Space Museum has a lot of actions and scenes, lower cast and that sort of thing. Alrighty, so there you are. As a reminder, the serials that I dedicate to our, again, like I mentioned before, our key part of this channel, Saturday, when people would oftentimes go to movies and sell seats. And that sort of thing, like I mentioned before, it was heavily. For example, typically on a Saturday like today or Sunday weekend, all of the community would go together, and they wouldn't just see one film. They would actually go for a bunch of stuff. They would go there, maybe let's say that, hypothetically, it might be 10 a.m. or something like that, but we'll use news as an example. They go there for a few shorts, like news reveals. They did have light trailers, but not as many as you might expect. Cartoon or two that were shorter too. And then the first movie, and then after the first movie, the first serial of the two. And then they had intermission, and you would go be talking in intermission about the serial. How is this person going to survive? Right? These are the key questions they're going to answer. In the next thing, what's going to happen next? All the cliffhangers, literally in some cases, right? And that sort of a thing. And then you would come back after talking about the serial, not the first film, and then the second half, and then you have a couple more shorts, and then the B film, oftentimes maybe an hour or a little longer. And then another couple of shorts, a serial, and then you would end. And that serial, again, like into the intermission, will also be the things you're talking about at the end, right? The serial sold those seats. They were the water cooler talk that day, right? And so I think that we have forgotten the serials in our love for movies and our love for TV shows, but we have forgotten the serials. So I think I'll give my Saturday to that too. Just a heads up. So you can go back and watch. I've got all the first season of Doctor Who and the first episodes of Doctor Who, second season. I got back. You'll watch for the show. If you enjoyed that too, you can check out all the things from Flash Gordon to Buck Rogers and other things too. Right. So if you like those things, go back and check those out. Also on Friday, I like to do some reviews of older things too. I just did my top 10 board games yesterday. Previously, I've done top 10 comedies, top 5 silent films. I did my what I like in horror films and what modern horror films really are. So I like to do that for all of the top 10 and stuff like that. Typically in the movies, but I just did board games because I didn't have anything movie to say. But I have a lot of board games recent experience. A lot of it for me to do that for you folks. And then on On Thursday, I did Clark Ashton Smith review from his, it's a sci-fi one, but then on Wednesday, I did a video game review from the late 90s called Heroes of Might and Magic 3, which is a sequel to Heroes of Might and Magic 6, and then which is a sequel to Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and some stuff like that. So I like the older video games too. On Wednesdays, on Monday, I did D1 from 78 Gary Gygax's first edition module, Descent into the Depths of the Earth, and then on Monday I'll do D2. And then on Sundays, and then on other days, I like to do reviews of older authors in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I did H.P. Lovecraft on Tuesday, for an example, and on Sunday I'll do a fantasy. Then I did Clark Ashton Smith sci-fi, Dark for Sauce. If you like those things, just hit the like button, the subscribe button, the bell icon, and then just go back and watch them. Right? I think that's great. And then share it too. Those are the key ones. Watch and share. And there you go. All right. And so, those older things tell you it's the passion of this channel. It's also where the name comes from too. The worst thing about a new book. That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones. In this case, right? Level lots. Alrighty, so there you are. I want to thank you so very, very much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, because we all have so many things that are happening, right, in our lives. So we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.